So that's tonight's big question. Against the odds, can the Tories recover and win the next election? To discuss this, I'm delighted to welcome Conservative MP for Lichfield, Michael Fabricant, who's been kind enough to join us even though he's losing his voice, and former Conservative minister and best-selling author and broadcaster Edwina Currie. Well, look, you're the man with skin in the game, Michael Fabricant. Can the Tories win the next election?
Well, oh my God, I really am going to be croaking tonight. I'm a hero doing this thing, you know. I was at GB News a little bit earlier on. I've got a feeling you'll all be hoarse by tomorrow. But anyway, to answer your question, the answer is yes, we can. It's a long shot, but we can if we have the right people. And the reason I say that is because every single bit of survey work, qualitative survey work, polling that's been done about Keir Starmer, I'm not doing well this evening, am I? About Keir Starmer, says that people find him boring, dull, they don't know what he stands for, they don't believe him. So, you know, we need a good leader. But it's not, as one of your people said, a good leader to win the election. It's a good leader to do the things that are important for this country and the people of this country, not only in the next 2 years, but the 4 or 5 years that follow. Boy, my voice is dreadful.
Well, listen, you're making plenty of sense, though, Michael, and we'll keep this short so you can get back to that hot toddy. And we are very grateful that you've given us your time, and you probably need a hot water bottle. But I would say that the prospect of Boris Johnson
back it doesn't seem to be working.
Oh no, the drugs don't work. Michael, you're backing Boris Johnson. Is it a near certainty that he'll run now?
I think so. I think so. If you look at the work that's been done by Guido Fawkes, who's been keeping a running total. He says that he's got 68 people who've declared for him, but I know there are many, many others who are not publicly declaring. I think an important thing to remember is that only the proposer and the seconder will be published by the Conservative Party. So although I'm on the list, because I've willingly put my name on the list, there are many others who for various reasons don't want to be listed, yet will be in confidence telling the 1922 that they're backing. And in fact, Tim Montgomery, who advises GB News and was the founder of Conservative Home, his judgment was they could get up to 140. We'll see.
Indeed. And it looks likely to be Sunak versus Johnson in the last two. And I just heard earlier from Neil Parish, your former colleague in the House of Commons, who suggested that Sunak may not run against Boris Johnson if it is just the two of them against the membership. So Boris Johnson could be Prime Minister by Monday afternoon.
I think that it's highly unlikely that Sunak won't run. But Rishi does know he's not popular with the membership because they think, rightly or wrongly, that he knifed Boris in the back. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But that certainly is the perception. No, I think in any event, there should be a choice. I don't like it, you know, when just the MPs make that decision. There are 200,000 or so party members, and they should have a voice too.
Can we rule out Penny Mordaunt at this stage, Michael?
I don't think you can rule out anybody. And, you know, although Boris, I must ask Edwina, by the way, if she's got a cure for this hoarse voice. Edwina looks like the sort of lady who knows how to deal with this quickly.
Edwina might,
magic.
Yeah, Edwina might put something on your chest. Michael, before I get to Mrs. Currie, in terms of Boris then, I mean, 68 Tory MPs at the moment supporting him. Have you spoken to Boris Johnson?
Now, that would be telling. Boris at the moment is in the air, I think, and he's flying back. But I don't think we can automatically assume that he is going to stand. And in fact, on GB News, I looked straight to camera this morning and begged him that he should stand, because I had heard that he was watching GB News in an exotic location in the Caribbean, as you can do via GB News YouTube Live. And I hope that he will stand, but he will make a decision on that tomorrow. And you asked, before I started going on about my throat again, Penny Mordaunt. Well, Penny Mordaunt, I suppose it depends whether Boris's people, I mean, I think a lot of supporters of Boris, including, the MPs, also take the view that they don't want Rishi because of what happened before. Maybe they would go to Penny Mordaunt. I don't know. But look, we will find out by lunchtime or tomorrow evening whether Boris is declaring or not. I hope he does. I think he gets the big calls right. I think he's going to be good for the country. And think of all the things that we did do, not only Brexit, not only getting the first vaccine program and helping Ukraine, but people always forget. I had this with a BBC reporter earlier today when she was interviewing me, and she said, oh, Brexit is a bit of a failure, because a lot of these people, they just can't believe that the whole debate is over. And I was pointing out to her that everyone said we wouldn't have a free trade deal with the European Union, that it would be impossible unless we accepted European Union laws, because it had never been done before. And you know what? We did it. So the point is, Boris does get things done. So I really do hope that he will stand.
Well, we may be witnessing more political history tomorrow. And if Boris Johnson does declare, then that will dominate tomorrow night's conversation on Mark Dolan tonight. Delighted to welcome a legendary figure from the world of broadcasting and politics, Edwina Currie. Edwina, if, as Fraser Nelson in The Telegraph has written this week, if the Tories choose the right person, can they bounce back and win the next general election?
Oh, yes, I'm quite sure that that in principle is correct. My commiserations to Michael. There is only one recipe, Michael, that will cure your sore throat, and that's to stop talking.
Wishful thinking, Edwina. Edwina, are you casting doubt on Boris's ability to hit 100? You are. OK. And in a word, Edwina, can Rishi Sunak win an election as leader of the Conservative Party? Because we know that Boris has the pedigree to do just that. Does Rishi have the same?
Oh, I think he could. My own feeling for Rishi is, but bearing in mind he's not been in Parliament all that long and he's had a meteoric rise, I would give him two little bits of advice. The first is there's no harm being on the backbenches for a while. You do mature an awful lot when you are looking at the front bench from several rows back, and you begin to understand a lot more about British politics and British people and our needs. And the other is, I really feel he needs to have a conversation, does Rishi, with his wife. There's something not quite right about somebody being Prime Minister of the country, perhaps having to impose higher taxes, and having a wife at home who is a non-dom. I'm not against non-dom status. I think it's very, very useful for a lot of people, attracts a lot of excellent people to our country. But to have one of them actually living in Downing Street is a bit of, that gets hard to explain when you're on doorsteps.
Michael, final word goes to you. Edwina, they're casting doubt on Boris's support, given that it's a secret ballot. Perhaps that figure of 68 supportive Tory MPs is fool's gold.
I don't think so. We have a WhatsApp group, and Edwina is absolutely right. Backbench MPs are very devious, but some would have to be incredibly devious with what they're saying, and then if they weren't going to vote for him. I just wanted to pick up one thing about this Partygate, which people miss time and time again. Prime ministers and ministers take advice from their civil servants. The advice was that if you are in a work bubble, it is different from not being in a work bubble. And that is the reason why so many career civil servants also got penalty notices from the police. There's a whole argument about whether or not they did break the law because they didn't actually appeal. There's a whole argument about whether the Met Police behaved differently from the police force that dealt with Starmer. So, let's not be too judgmental on this.